Introducing from Albuquerque, New Mexico, weighing 233 pounds, Gil Guerrera. And from Seattle, Washington, weighing 242 pounds, Greg Valentine. Referee, Lee Wan.
There was a surprising amount of applause for Greg Valentine as Mickey Garagiola introduced him for his match against Gil Guerrero. Of course, that's been the good things about the fine people here in the greater St. Louis area. They appreciate a wrestler's skills. And maybe sometimes they're mad at him or they don't like some of his tactics. But basically, they know to respect a man. And Greg Valentine right there is somebody who definitely has to be respected. Nothing to be ashamed of at all when you're friends and part of a spectator crowd, an audience at a St. Louis sporting event. Fine, fine people. A lot of friends there. Kind of people you miss when you're not with them, that's for sure. Double wrist lock by Valentine. He carries Guerrero over. Guerrero getting to his feet. Valentine switches into that double wrist lock again because he has more options from that position. And one option is to push Guerrero to the ropes. Ed Warren trying to get a clean break and gets one from Greg Valentine. Greg's dad, Johnny, had his moments both ways with the crowds here in St. Louis, that's for sure. There were a lot of times when they were mad at him, they booed him. There were just as many times they stood up and cheered him. When he was battling John Paul Henning or Edouard Carpentier or Cowboy Bob Ellis or Pat O'Connor, they were booing Johnny Valentine. But a lot of other times when Valentine was in there with the likes of the late Buddy Austin, Buddy Rogers, the Bruiser, Von Erich, you heard a lot of cheers then too. Valentine drives the elbow into the shoulder. Mickey Garagiola reminding me of something we didn't point out. Of course, a lot of people are much aware that our good friend Wild Bill Longson passed away in December, and the former matchmaker of the St. Louis Wrestling Club, a longtime associate of former promoter Sam Muchnick, Bobby Bruns, also passed away about a month ago. Of course, Bobby was in St. Louis in the 1950s and 1960s, left to take a job with the promotion in Buffalo, New York. Very highly respected, an excellent wrestler, good friend. Shame when you lose Longson and Bruns over the period of a month or two, losing some good people. Bobby Bruns and that Boston Bulldog, always had a Boston Bulldog with him.
I don't know about that Boston Bull. Between Bobby Bruns and Johnny Valentine, when they sat down to eat, they ate garlic smothered with spaghetti. I mean, they had more garlic on plates than any two wrestlers I know.
Could you stand to be near them?
Oh, man, you could smell them from one end of the town to the other.
Greg Valentine, I don't know if he puts garlic on his spaghetti. Mickey will find out, though.
I'm going to have to ask him.
Greg Valentine drops Guerrero with that Greco-Roman back body drop. Maneuver his dad used very well. Greg hooking the head between his legs. And Greg Valentine going for the pile driver on Gil Guerrero, and he goes forward with it. The standing pile driver rather than going backward. I think he realized that Guerrero was maybe trying to brace himself, so he went the other direction with it. Good thinking by Greg Valentine. Valentine again locks the arm. Guerrero throws him down. Valentine manhandling Guerrero at this point. Look at him stand over and pull back on that arm. Perfect positioning. Perfect positioning by Greg Valentine to make that arm lock very effective. A lot of pressure in the shoulder. You can see the arm twisted a little bit, the muscle straining across the elbow. Guerrero's arm taking it right now from Greg Valentine. Guerrero trying to scoot out underneath. Mistake. Left the stomach open for Valentine's knee. Valentine pitches Guerrero right through the ropes, to the apron and down to the floor and into the front row. Guerrero trying to regain his bearings outside the ring. Valentine asks no quarter, and he gives none. Get him back, yells Guerrero. Valentine not in the mood to wait. Valentine grabs Guerrero, catches him with a blast to the side. Oh, did Valentine pop Guerrero there? Guerrero trying to battle back. Valentine getting the best of the slugfest. Greg Valentine pounding on Guerrero. Valentine with a flying mare on Guerrero. Valentine pulls back on that leg, and the elbow slammed into the hamstring muscle by Greg Valentine. Valentine again, this time with a body drop into the knee of Guerrero. And then a standing leg split briefly, spinning toe hold, and Guerrero scissors. The ankle of Guerrero scissored as Valentine drops back.
5 minutes have passed, 15 minutes left.
Greg Valentine now methodically punishing the legs of Guerrero. A standing leg split now by Greg Valentine on Gil Guerrero. And again, you can see that perfect balance that Valentine has so he can push into the leg, stretch out that hamstring some more. Valentine brings the knee into the other leg. Now Valentine steps over. He can very easily turn this into a half crab on Guerrero. Guerrero tells the referee no, he won't give up. Guerrero, a very awkward and painful position. Valentine sees the back right there for him. Shifts into a double toe hold. Then makes sure his knee stays in the small of Guerrero's back and puts punishment again, pressure on both legs. Valentine reaching inside that double toe hold, using his shoulder as a pressure point. And Guerrero painfully crawls underneath the ropes. Discretion before valor in this case. It hurts, and he got out of the way. Valentine, those stomps on the back. Greg Valentine using that second rope for extra leverage to go to the air and punish the back of Gil Guerrero. Valentine took those punches of Guerrero, battled back himself. That chop was on the money. Guerrero tosses Valentine to the ropes. Oh, Valentine comes off with that brain buster right to the head of Guerrero. Guerrero was setting him up for the backdrop. Valentine instead with the brain buster and then bangs the elbow into the chest, knocking the wind out of Guerrero. Valentine grabs the leg, both legs up, spins the toe hold, locks it around, cinches it up, and there's that figure four leg lock. The figure four leg lock by Greg Valentine on Gil Guerrero. And Guerrero with no choice but to submit. Greg Valentine runs roughshod over Gil Guerrero. And it's about 50-50 cheers and boos for Greg Valentine. He just went in there and hard-nosed, tough customer that he is, polished down, methodically wore down Gil Guerrero. We're going to get another look at Valentine cinching up that figure four. One brain buster already landed. There's that elbow driven in again. Guerrero already stunned. Valentine following it up. Grabs the legs, makes sure the man's in the middle of the ring. Good ring sense by Greg Valentine. Locks it up, makes sure he has it cinched good so he can really rip at that cartilage in the knee. And the figure four leg lock gives Greg Valentine the win. Here's Mickey Garagiola.
In 7 minutes and 9 seconds with the figure four, the winner, Greg Valentine. 15-minute time limit. Introducing from Kansas City, Kansas, weighing 246 pounds, Cowboy Bob Orton. From Terre Haute, Indiana, weighing 239 pounds, Greg Lake.
Cowboy Bob Orton collides with Greg Lake. Orton seems to have the talent to show something different offensively every single time he steps inside a ring. His imagination of what he can do in a wrestling ring seems limitless. Lake was a little tentative. He didn't know quite what Cowboy Orton had in mind there. And all he had in mind was a clean break. Arm drag by Orton. Whether you boo him or you cheer him, hey, this guy can flat out wrestle. Orton, nice move. Nice inside hook and then rides the leg down and comes up with the arm. Cowboy Bob Orton. Splendid, splendid wrestler. Greg Lake reaching up for the chin of Orton rather, and Orton slapped that hand away, then switches his position on the arm lock so that Lake can't go to the head of Orton. Nice move by Lake. Orton surprised. Orton does have a little bit of an ego, however. Whenever somebody does a move to him, it's almost as though, hey, how can you do that? I'm the only guy who has that thing down cold. Of course, I guess he knows better when it comes right down to it. Side headlock by Lake, doesn't last long. Oh, Orton throws the drop kick and nobody was home. Side headlock by Lake. Lake goes up on the second rope, and carries Orton over. Greg Lake avoiding the drop kick and then clamping on the side headlock to Cowboy Bob Orton. Orton reaches up with the forearm up against the jaw of Lake. Orton muscles his way up to his feet. Up to his knees, rather. He's heading for his feet. I'm sure that's what he's hoping for, but maybe not, knowing Orton. He has a leg there that he might be able to do something with. Lake squeezes harder. That's how you get cauliflower ears. Orton throws Lake to the ropes. Lake, nice move. Lake coming inside with a backdrop on Orton. You can see Orton's face. He's angry because he was outsmarted there by Greg Lake. Orton favoring that back, and Lake with the side headlock. Greg Lake so far giving a very good account of himself against the wily and clever Cowboy Bob Orton. Lake pulls back on Orton's head. Orton pops his forearm into the back of Lake. Again, that forearm delivered right in the kidney area. Sometimes a little short jab into that region can be more effective than a big haymaker aimed at the nose. Mickey's been on the receiving end of both, and I'm sure Mickey Garagiola would verify that.
That's right about that, especially when a guy like Ox Baker comes after you for that.
The bigger they are, the harder it hurts when they hit. Although you talk about a guy who can really pop someone. That Greg Valentine packs a lot of wallop. Lake leapfrogs over the top. Drop kick by Lake. Puts Orton down, then Lake catches Orton with an arm drag. Oh, side headlock backfires. Orton muscling up, but no, Lake hangs on. Orton almost slipped away, and Lake almost got into trouble. But Lake, determined, held in there and has the side headlock.
That Lake was really moving around there. Orton thought he had him, but Lake turned the tables.
Did a good job at it. Orton pulls back on the chin briefly of Greg Lake. Lake requested that the referee ask Orton if he wants to give up. Orton naturally said no. Tough boy. I can't imagine him giving up under anything but the most dire of circumstances. Orton leapfrogs over the top, and Orton puts it right on the button. Oh, nice move by Cowboy Bob Orton. Sharp, accurate, and effective. Orton. Well, looks like he's going. Oh! Orton, instead of going for a suplex, something new again from the Cowboy. Orton dropping Lake down, stomach first, ribs across that top rope. And you can imagine the impact of that. It looked like he was going for the conventional suplex, and then Orton once again did something different. What a wrestler.
He comes up with more new holes every week.
I'll tell you something, whatever happens between Flair and Von Erich or any other title anywhere in the wrestling world, that man in the ring right now, Cowboy Bob Orton, has the potential to win a major title and to keep it for a long time. No question about it. He can go. Orton up on the second rope.
5 minutes have elapsed, 10 minutes left.
Orton dive bomb Lake from the second rope, bringing that forearm right into the stomach. Lake, the wind totally knocked out of him. Look at Orton lifting him, manhandling him. That Orton's strong, too. Lifts him up almost like a baby, but you don't handle a baby like that. Oh, Orton driving the knee down in the stomach of Lake. Cowboy Bob Orton. What a vast repertoire he has. Orton has Lake up in the air. Oh, drops him down on the shoulder. Greg Lake. I hope he didn't have a very big lunch. Oh, Lake catching it again, the shoulder right in the stomach. Now a backbreaker over the top, buckle by Orton on Lake. Orton slams the forearm into the neck, and down goes Lake. Orton up on the second rope. And Lake, he's going nowhere but the cleaners after Orton finishes with him, unless he can turn it around quickly. Whenever you see Cowboy Bob Orton in that ring, you see a guy who is proving time and time again that he can truly do it all. He reaches inside on Lake, hoists him to the air. Where's he going with him? Slams him down, stomach into the knee. What a pounding. The midsection, the abdomen of Greg Lake is taken from Orton. And once again, a lot of people are clapping for Orton, respecting what he's doing. And all of what he's doing, I hope you noticed, has been 98% legal. Right now, he's hanging onto the ropes for some extra leverage. The knees themselves, even the kicks are legal. Orton stomping away on Greg Lake. Orton hits the ropes. Look out. Orton stomping, using Lake's stomach as a doormat. Orton hooking the head of Lake. Nice low suplex. A nice, low, quick, hard suplex by Cowboy Bob Orton. Orton bounces off the ropes. Diving headbutt into the stomach. Orton laughs at the referee. Says, man, am I good? I'm so good, says Orton. Hard to dispute what we're seeing. Orton, elbow drop to the stomach. You talk about a guy taking a pounding. Greg Lake is literally getting the stuffing beaten out of him by Cowboy Bob Orton. And that's no reflection on Lake. He gave a good account of himself early, made a mistake, and has paid for it painfully ever since. The abdominal stretch by Cowboy Bob Orton. The abdominal stretch by Orton on Lake, and that's it. Cowboy Bob Orton. That's just a postscript there, the abdominal stretch after everything else that Orton did to Lake. The referee having to threaten Orton with disqualification. The abdominal stretch still another way to win a match, and the first time Orton's shown us that. Seen a lot of guys who are versatile, but I have seen nobody in all the time I've been here on Wrestling at the Chase who compares to Orton for versatility. There's that abdominal stretch, perfectly cinched in. Look at the pressure in the side. You know everything that Orton had done to the stomach. An easy victory there for Cowboy Bob Orton. Here's Mick.
In 8 minutes and 10 seconds with the abdominal stretch, the winner, Cowboy Bob Orton. Tag team match, most falls to curfew. Introducing from Winnipeg, Canada, weighing 246 pounds, Bulldog Bob Brown. From Amarillo, Texas, weighing 234 pounds, Mark Romero. From Des Moines, Iowa, weighing 260 pounds, Steve Seifert. And from Yoshika, Japan, weighing 246 pounds, Yasu Fuji.
Yasu Fuji and Steve Seifert go after Mark Romero and Bulldog Bob Brown. Most falls to curfew. Fuji begins the action against the Bulldog, and Fuji loosening up in the traditional Japanese fashion. Bulldog bows at him. Fuji's mad. Fuji goes for a trip. Side headlock. I guess that was the traditional Canadian method. Tag made to Mark Romero. Mickey, I know your name. Don't worry. One of that gals that ringside is. What's your last name? Flying tackle by Romero. Side headlock. Fuji goes down. No matter what happens in the future, Mick, I will remember your name. I expect you to count the supper.
It's a real name. I mean, a real easy name to pronounce and spell and everything. I mean, you know.
Garagaglia.
No, Garagiola.
Garagiola.
I go by Garagiola. The other guy goes by Garagiola.
I know that. You guys don't even agree on it yourselves.
That's $1 million a year man. I mean, after all, it's a little difference.
That's true. It changes the name. Side headlock. Very effective against Yasu Fuji. Gary Von Erich will be looking for effective weapons against Ric Flair, and he'll need all his weapons to knock Flair off that throne. Romero catches Seifert. Seifert was the one who wanted to do the damage, but it was Romero who ended up scoring and scoring big. Romero with a side headlock on Seifert. Bulldog Bob Brown says, I wish Mickey was in there. Tags made. Brown helped Romero out. The Beatles said it best, with a little help from a friend.
I asked him, I said, how come you're starting to comb your hair now? He says, I want to look pretty on TV. I says, there's no TV camera's going to help that face. He needs a sauna bat and then mold it into something.
Oh, Mickey's on a roll today, boy. Let's get on that plane and go to Vegas quick, Mick. You're hot today.
Either that or catch a bus and get out of town right now. If Brown finds out.
Brown grabs Seifert and he grabs Fuji and rams their heads together. Go to a sauna bath and then mold it into what you want.
Yeah, make yourself a good-looking fella. Nah, he's a nice guy.
And you know what happens to nice guys, too. Yeah. That's why he's got a little bit of Leo DeRocher in him, too. Got to inside that ring. In wrestling, nobody looks out for you but yourself.
You better believe it. There's nobody warming up in the bullpen.
Look out for number one. Side headlock by Romero and Seifert. And number one right now is Ric Flair. Not with an asterisk either. Gary Von Erich can change all that and trade the Missouri belt for the gold. Atomic knee drop by Seifert. Romero staggered. Here comes Fuji. Fuji with a chop. Flying mare by Fuji. And a knee drop to the head by Yasu.
10 minutes left. 10 minutes.
10 minutes remain in the curfew. Brown and Romero against Fuji and Seifert. Romero threatened to throw a punch. Fuji pulled the hair. Ed Warren caught him. Once it's broken. Brown's in there. He didn't belong in there. Seifert in the ring. I don't believe a tag was made there. And Ed Warren's running Seifert out. He's right, too. There was no tag made there. The Warren brothers doing exactly what they're supposed to do, and they ran Seifert out. Oh, Fuji, that nice side suplex. Sweeping the leg. Mike George uses that hold pretty well. And before him, a gentleman by the name of Danny Hodge made a lot of use out of that side suplex. Hodge didn't have a whole lot of matches here. Of course, he was the World Junior Heavyweight Champion and possibly, well, certainly one of the top 4 or 5 amateur grapplers ever turned out in this country. We're talking about the great amateur wrestlers who were turned out by the United States and did battle in international competition. Certainly talk about Danny Hodge, Ken Gable, Larry Christoph, a few other names, but certainly those guys are among the top 5. Dan Gable, of course, was never of the size that he was going to be in professional wrestling. He was about I'm not sure what he competed at. I'm guessing around in the 150, 160-pound range. Of course, he's a collegiate coach now up in Iowa. Larry Christoph, right over at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, doing a great job. And he's turning out some kids, his own, Mark and Kip. In fact, the one boy's already been Illinois state champion twice, and he's only a sophomore. The other son wrestling for Larry at SIU Edwardsville. Larry, a fine gentleman, great guy and doing a tremendous job for the sport of wrestling. He's building a tremendous program. The hammerlock by Seifert on Mark Romero. Here comes Fuji. Brown reaches in. Brown trying to make a tag. Brown made a tag. I hate to tell him that tag was illegal, either the referee saw it or not. The crowd is yelling at the referees. Brown saying I made a tag. Yes, he did, but Brown's feet weren't on the apron. So even though there was a tag made, the referees are right in chasing Brown out. Brown's feet were on the ropes. Tag was illegal. The Warren brothers are right, absolutely. Seifert slams Romero into that turnbuckle. Fuji right there to grab the arm, too. Fuji tying that arm to the top rope with the tag rope. Here comes Brown. Fuji tags Seifert. Here comes Fuji. Romero still tied to the top rope. Ed Warren gets him untangled. Fuji nails Romero. Fuji again chops Romero. Romero all hung up. Here comes Brown. He throws a punch at Fuji, but it doesn't help Romero. Seifert strangling and Fuji stretching Mark Romero. Romero trying to get to Brown. Fuji cuts him off. Down goes Romero. I think Fuji helped himself to a healthy handful of hair. Fuji, nicely applied arm lock and wrist combination. His knee against the elbow of Mark Romero. There you see it. Great camera work again by the crew here. That's already passes on the low camera. You can bet John Baker's going to call his number with regularity because our director, John Baker, couldn't beat passes. He couldn't beat him at racquetball if his life depended on it. Here I thought Baker was so good he's just collapsing. He hasn't won a racquetball game in months. Karen Klein beat him. Winkle's beating him. He's just gone to pot. Collapsed completely. And Romero, oh, he ducks. Drop kick by Romero. He needed that break, and he makes the tag to the Bulldog. Brown tears into Seifert. Seifert and Fuji, a meeting of the minds. Body slam by Brown on Seifert. Fuji chopped, his eyes gouged by Brown. Brown with a knee stomp on Seifert. A knee stomp to Fuji by Brown. Oh, Seifert caught Brown unaware.
5 minutes left, 5 minutes.
Brown dropped by Fuji and by Seifert. And now Seifert standing on the throat of Bulldog Brown. Seifert pushes Brown to the ropes, throws a forearm smash. Brown comes flying off with that kick. Seifert wanted that backdrop. Brown hit him with that kick and tags Mark Romero. Fuji tries to help, and Romero's all over that ring. Tomahawk chop by Romero, and then he gives one to Fuji for good measure. Drop kick on Seifert. Drop kick on Fuji. Romero taking to the air. Fuji knocked to the apron. Seifert coming up slowly. Jackknife cradle, called the sunset flip if you will. The shoulders are down, and Romero couldn't have him in a better corner. The first fall goes to Romero and Brown. A series of drop kicks by Mark Romero, then the jackknife and cradle means that the initial stanza belongs to the Bulldog and Mark Romero. Here's Mickey Garagiola.
In 9 minutes and 25 seconds, the winner of the first fall with the cradle, the team of Bulldog Brown and Mark Romero.
Here's the drop kick that knocked Fuji out of the ring. A drop kick, you can see him bringing the foot up right into the mouth of Seifert. Seifert comes staggering to his feet. Romero lining him up. Before Seifert can straighten, Romero over the top, hooks the hips, pulls him back, the jackknife into the cradle. Often called the sunset flip. It was sunset for Steve Seifert right there. The first fall belongs to Romero and Brown. We're waiting for the bell to begin the second stanza. Boy, that Mickey Garagiola hit the bell hard. Good Lord, you been hanging out with Ken Patera or something?
I want to get in with some of these fellas got these earplugs. I want to see if they can tune them down. We lost Ollie Hofstetter just now.
Not the first time. Seifert, Romero flying. Brown's in there. Wait a minute. Stops Romero. And Brown catches Seifert. Brown didn't belong in there, but he sure put a stop to all that flying around the ring. And I'm sure didn't see that. I certainly didn't see Romero complaining. Mark Romero tying up the arm of Steve Seifert. Tag made with Bulldog. Bulldog stomps right on the forearm. Right on the wrist. Steve Seifert having some problems with Bulldog Brown. Brown punishing that arm, and of course the first fall, so very important. It belongs to Romero and the Bulldog. Seifert tries to run his way to Fuji, and Brown just hangs on. Steve Seifert, to quote the ringside spectators, a look-alike for Walter Matthau. Whoop, Brown pushed into the wrong corner, at least the wrong corner as far as he's concerned. Romero to the rescue. Brown being double teamed.
2 minutes left, 2 minutes.
Time running down the curfew, and Seifert and Fuji obviously have to open up. Brown is the guy who's really on the spot here because Fuji and Seifert, when they get the fall, that'll even this match at 1 apiece. Fuji digs in with the nerve clamp on the Bulldog. Yasu Fuji leaning into the neck of Brown. Brown to his feet. Fuji dropping that shoulder strap. And I think he's got it around the windpipe of the Bulldog.
1 minute left. 1 minute.
Seifert comes in the ring. Romero after Seifert. Well, they're two illegal contestants anyway. They're at each other tooth and nail. Fuji with a chop to Brown. Brown leveled by Fuji. Fuji presses Brown to try and even this match and almost gets it. But Brown then gets over to Romero. Romero rips into Fuji. Knee lift by Romero. Romero with another chop to Yasu Fuji, and one lands on Seifert. Seifert comes in behind Romero. Brown after Seifert. Fuji dropped Romero with what could have been a karate punch. That would be illegal. There's the bell. Time has expired. Fuji with another chop to Mark Romero. All four men in the ring. The winners of the match are going to be Brown and Romero, but Romero taking some lumps from Fuji, now fighting back. And we're out of time. And as the official verdict is the winners are Bulldog Bob Brown and Mark Romero. Join us again next weekend for more excitement on Wrestling at the Chase.
A one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from Osaka, Japan, weighing 245 pounds, Yasu Fuji. And from Amarillo, Texas, weighing 264 pounds, Mark Romero. Referee Lee Warren.
Yasu Fuji takes on Mark Romero. Yasu Fuji, of course, is from Osaka, Japan. And I'll tell you, if you got to go out in the final show for yourself, it's good to know that Mickey Garagiola can still do it with the best. He thought it was Dick Murdoch, and he tried to put him from Waxahachie, Texas. I think, or Waxahachie, Japan, should there be such a place.
Why don't you come from Tokyo, Japan? It's easier.
Talk to Yasu. Don't talk to me about
Yasu.
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 Yasu. He only handled Italians, folks. Fuji and Romero lock up. He does a few things with Germans, but... The whip is reversed. Arm drag by Romero. Second arm drag by Mark Romero. The referee dives in to check those shoulders. Fuji keeps them up, but he has to be dazzled at this point by the speed of Mark Romero. Fuji trying to get to his feet. These two were on opposite sides of a tag team affair last weekend and had quite a Donnybrook after the bell, really. In fact, Fuji landed a karate thrust to the throat of Romero. There was some bad feelings after that match. Flying tackle by Romero. Fuji waiting. Oh, he tried a body slam. Backfired. Reverse rolling cradle. Romero trying to get up over the hips. Couldn't quite get it cinched up the way he wanted it. Arm drag by Romero. Mark Romero with the arm drag. And now in command against Yasu Fuji. Fuji squirming around. Romero pins that arm down to the mat and drops the knee into the elbow. Romero lifts Fuji and bounces him. Double trouble there for Fuji. And Romero does it a second time. Double trouble in the fact that that arm gets an extra stretch and the back gets bounced on top of it. Count of two, and then Fuji got the shoulder up. Fuji and Romero to their feet. Fuji puts pressure back on the chin of Romero and then throws a punch to the stomach. An elbow smash drops Mark Romero. Flying mare by Fuji. Fuji diving headbutt misses. He took too long, I think, to take aim, and Romero had time to get out of the way. Arm drag by Romero. Anytime you make a move like that, naturally you want to be accurate, but in this early part of the match, where both men are still relatively fresh, taking that much time can be disastrous, as Fuji found out. Fuji puts pressure underneath the chin of Romero, trying to push the head back. Fuji struggling to his feet. Fuji pushes Romero to the ropes, throws him away. Flying tackle by Mark. Oh, Fuji was waiting to try a hip toss, but Romero countered it nicely and then scores once more with that arm drag. Mark Romero moving smoothly in this battle against Yasu Fuji. Fuji pulls the hair. Lee Warren caught Fuji, and he says, break it up. Fuji did break it and regain it very quickly. Romero struggling to keep the shoulders up. Fuji puts pressure back on the hand. The grip's legal. That's what the referee was checking to make sure all four fingers were in the grip. Anything less would make it an illegal hold, or if the thumb were being used alone. Fuji with a little chop underneath the shoulder. Then Fuji grabs Romero and pitches him on the ropes. Romero hanging on, catches himself, pulling himself back up, can't quite make it. That was very close to an automatic disqualification. Romero caught himself. Fuji with a kick to the head of Romero. Fuji with an elbow smash to the neck, and Romero getting into some trouble. Fuji pulls back on Romero and drops him neck first into the knee. Type of neck breaker right there by Yasu Fuji.
5 minutes have elapsed, 5 minutes left.
Romero staggering now. Fuji with a chop to the throat. A legal blow. Flying mare by Fuji. Then Fuji with a nerve clamp on Mark Romero. The referee making sure, first of all, that it's not a strangle, and then also checking with Romero if he wants to submit, which he does not. Fuji with a neck snap on Mark Romero. Fuji hooks the head as Romero comes to his feet. Referee's going to have to get in there tight to make sure there's not strangling going on, and Fuji throws a punch. It's more the elbow comes into play for Yasu Fuji. Flying mare by Fuji. And then again the nerve clamp by Yasu Fuji. The crowd begins clapping and urging on Mark Romero. Fuji slams his chest into the neck of Romero. Then Fuji with a knee drop on Romero. Romero's wanted into trouble ever since he got himself tangled up in the ropes and landed heavily on the apron. Fuji really digging in now with that nerve clamp. You can see that it's quite obviously not a stranglehold. The referee making sure of that. Romero down, and Fuji with a stomp right into the neck area, the same place that Fuji was digging him with that nerve clamp.
3 minutes left, 3 minutes.
Yasu Fuji has taken over in this match with Mark Romero. Fuji and lining up the diving head, but that one was on target later in the match. Romero a bit more worn down. Fuji could take time to take aim and put that diving headbutt on target. Earlier, it backfired on him. Fuji with the chop takes Romero right off his feet. He covers, count of 1. At 2, Romero kicks free. Fuji might have made a mistake by not getting his full body weight down across the chest of Romero there. Romero again. Oh! Romero got to the side. Fuji caught him on the arm. Romero tried to get away, and Fuji caught him on the arm, and then a chop to the throat. Romero slashes back. Romero and Fuji trading chops, and then Fuji ends that by gouging the eyes of Mark Romero. Romero takes a kick right in the chest from Fuji. Romero whipped to the ropes. Fuji with a big backdrop on Mark Romero. Fuji again covers Romero, this time getting his body weight down across the chest, but Romero still manages to get away. Romero, jackknife. Fuji tries to keep his balance. Romero pulls him down into the cradle. But at 2, Fuji gets away. Mark Romero. Romero coming back against Fuji, and Fuji says, wait a minute. Romero bangs away on Yasu Fuji.
1 minute left, 1 minute.
Romero pops Fuji in the stomach. Leg drop by Romero. He covers Fuji, but Fuji manages to kick free. Fuji hits the ropes. Romero goes for the sleeper. Mark Romero with a sleeper on Yasu Fuji. Romero squeezing with that sleeper hold on Fuji. Fuji trying to stay on his feet, and that's all important in combating the sleeper, but now Fuji sags down to his knees. Romero trying to put Fuji away. Time fast running out in the limit in the curfew. Romero might not be able to get enough leverage for some reason. Maybe Fuji, being familiar with what the sleeper hold can and should be doing, is able to relax that neck or stiffen the neck in such a manner that Romero simply can't put the pressure on he needs. Finally, Fuji grabs the hair and breaks the sleeper. Romero goes right back to it. But there's the bell, and the time limit has expired. The referee trying to get Romero away from Fuji, and Fuji was able to very successfully combat that sleeper. So this match ends in a time limit draw between Yasu Fuji and Mark Romero. Let's make it official and hear from ring announcer Mickey Garagiola.
With time running out, referee Lee Warren declares the match a draw.